Alright guys, so as promised, I told you I'd show you a picture of Josiah. Josiah was born Sunday sometime, Sunday evening around 7 I think. I don't know, I'm really tired right now. But there he is. Ignore the stupid bow on his hat. It wasn't my idea, it was from the hospital. But there's the little boy. He is healthy. His mom is healthy, my wife is healthy. Um, I don't know for sure whether I'll be back next week or the following week at this point. There was a little bit that went on with my wife. She's fine, but it's going to take her a little while longer than expected to get back to normal. So I'm trying to see if I can get approved for an extra week off. If not, I'll be back next week, no problems. If I can, I'm going to push it back as far as, or probably a whole nother week. We're going to see how well Mr. Kindle does with multitasking today, because it's my turn to put the baby to sleep after he eats, and I have to get this video done before I go completely delirious. So now let's start talking about the math. Today's goal is to solve literal equations. A literal equation is just an equation with no numbers or without numbers. So a literal equation, one more time, is an equation without numbers, or we also call them formulas. It's not that they have no numbers at all, it's just that predominantly we're dealing with variables in these equations. So now let's go ahead and let's move on to the first problem. On these problems, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you two problems to start with. One is a literal equation. The other is a normal equation. And what we need to talk about is what's the similarities between them. On a literal equation, you're always going to be given instructions. It's going to tell you to solve for some letter. In this case, let's pick L. And over here, though we've never said it, when it says solve, it's just saying solve for X. So when I look over at this problem right here, in order to solve for X, what do I need to do? Well, hopefully we can all look at it and say, Mr. Kindle, we need to divide both sides by 2, because 2 and X are being multiplied. The 2's canceled, 10 divided by 2 is 5, and you get 5 equals X. So when I look over here, I look and I say, LWH. No operator between them. Nothing between them. They're all being multiplied. So I'm going to divide by whatever L is being multiplied by. Divide this side by WH. This side by WH. I get V over WH equals L. See how easy this is, guys? Couple of quick things for you. For those of you who understand the concepts of solving equations, but you always mess up the numbers. You can't add, you can't subtract, you can't multiply, you can't divide correctly every time. That's fine. Literal equations are your best friend because I don't care about adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. V divided by WH means nothing to me until I start getting numbers to plug into these variables. But my job isn't to solve for those. What my job is to get L equals something. And in this case, that value is V over WH, and that's it. I have no numbers, so I can't divide it. I have no numbers, so I can't simplify it. I have nothing on top and bottom that's the same. It's just L equals VWH. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next one real quick. This time around, what I want you guys to do is I want you to try on this equation to solve for Y. Okay? The two equations work the same. Green and purple, they're the same. Purple, let's change the color there. There we go. Green and purple are the same conceptually. So what I want you guys to do is go ahead. I want you to try pausing the video. Take no more than 3 minutes. If at the end of 3 minutes you haven't figured out how to do it, that's okay. Take no more than 3 minutes. I want you guys to try to figure out how to solve the equation on the left, the purple one. Go ahead and pause the video and push play again in 3 minutes. Alright, so that's giving you guys plenty of time to work on that, hopefully. So now let's go ahead and take a look. What you should have realized is just like the r over here is being multiplied by a -7 and added by 5, over here, my y is being multiplied by 2 and added by 3x. So I start by subtracting 3x from both sides. Those cancel. 9 minus 3x. Are 9 and x like terms? Hopefully y'all said, heck no, Mr. Kendall, because they're not. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at 2y equals 9 minus 3x is just going to give me 9 minus 3x. They're not like terms. I cannot simplify that, guys. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and look at the next one. Okay? And I'm going to, or the next step. And the next step is to divide both sides by 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. And I'm actually just going to, because it's a literal equation, I'm not going to worry about simplifying it. I'm going to write it as, let me get rid of some stuff here. I'm going to write it as divide the whole thing by 2. Those 2's cancel. I get y equals 9 minus 3x over 2. Alright guys, I want you to go ahead, take a couple minutes to get caught up if you need it. Talk to Miss N, have her help you understand what's going on. We're going to move on to the next problem. Alright, this time around, what we're going to do is we're going to solve it twice. First, you're going to solve for L. Second, you're going to solve for W. I want you guys to go ahead and try this one. Actually, no. This time, I'll do one way, you guys do the other. I'll go ahead and solve for L for us. When I look and I say I need to solve for L, I need to get L by itself. That 2W needs to disappear and that 2 needs to disappear. So I start off with what's farthest away and I get P equals 2L plus 2W. This is just the original equation. We subtract 2W from both sides. P minus 2W equals 2L. Then I divide both sides by 2. Those cancel. And you get L equals P minus 2W over 2. What I want you guys to do now is go ahead and pause the video for me. Pause the video for me. And solve for W. When you guys are ready to move on, go ahead and push play. Alright, y equals mx plus b. This time around, I want you guys to do all 3 of these on your own. Double check your answers with Miss N. First time, solve for m. Second time, solve for x. Third time, solve for b. Okay. And then the fourth thing I want you guys to answer and discuss it. Work together. Talk to Miss N. Include Miss N in your group. That's okay. Fourth thing I want you guys to talk about is why didn't I ask you to solve for y? I asked you to solve for m, x, and b, but I didn't ask you to solve for y. I want to know why not. So why didn't I ask, to solve for y? I want you guys to take, this should take quite a bit of time. This might actually end off the day. If it does, that's fine. Just go ahead and rotate groups at the end. If it doesn't, push play and I'll be back with you in a second. But I want you to do all 4 of these. Please solve for m, x, and b first so you can get some practice on the procedure. And then talk about number 4. Why didn't I ask you to solve for y? What makes that an irrelevant question? Go ahead and pause the video, get that done, and then push play when y'all are ready to move on. Alright, I'm just going to tell you guys, solve for m. I'm saying it out loud. I'm not writing it on the board. I'm not writing it on the screen. Solve for m. When you have solved for m, go ahead and push play. Move on. Alright guys, there are 3 problems coming up on the board. What I want you to do, for each of these 3, solve. Wow, that says solve, but my handwriting really sucks. I apologize, guys. Solve for all variables. I don't need you guys to do this on a half sheet. I don't need it on a regular piece of paper. All I really need it on is your spiral notebooks. But please make sure you actually do try. Solve for all the variables. Make sure you understand what you're doing, because tomorrow we're just going to keep moving on. In fact, at the end of class tomorrow, the plan is that you guys have a quiz. So be sure you're ready and be sure everything's ready to move on. At this point, you should be reaching the end of the group, and I'm just babbling. I don't know why. I'm sorry, guys. I've gotten almost no sleep since Friday night, and it is Monday at 11:15. So go ahead, have a great day, finish out the group. You'll hear from me through a video tomorrow.